we celebrate Mother's Day. And it's very powerful, and it touches my heart to see two women standing up, speaking for their rights. You know, speaking up as two different oppressions, as undocumented and as a woman, saying it out loud, undocumented and unafraid. That's very powerful, a very powerful message for your community, and thank you for doing that. So these are stories, you know, like sharing from your community, undocumented and unafraid, talking about how our families are being separated. It's a reality. In the land that we thought it was for the free, you know, our communities are still suffering. We still have anti-immigrant laws all over the country. We have over 5,000 kids that are in foster homes, separated from their families. You know, there's something wrong when you see a kid asking for their mom and their dad, you know, whether citizens or not, you know, that they deserve rights. And we're here not only talking about immigrant rights, we're talking about human rights. And we deserve to be treated equally.
Yeah.
And speaking of the people that represent us here in Utah, it is my pleasure to welcome a very, very special mujer, very special woman, it was my pleasure just to meet her right now in person. Her name is Robles, and originally from Mexico. She has a better understanding. So I would like to welcome her to the stairs to speak in her name.
Good afternoon. My name is Robles, and I'm a state senator in the state of Utah. So first of all, welcome to all the walkers and everyone that supports the idea of an American dream, and more importantly, the idea of young people being able to pursue their happiness and pursue their potential in this great country. Thank you to Itza and Sol for their beautiful stories. I'm a mother, and I know I will do anything for my little girl. And this is a very special day, you're right. As a mothers, we celebrate Mother's Day in many, many countries in this world. Just to see young women talking about how important it is for them to be able to be happy, to be able to seek their potential, it's inspiring. Please know that this is a call to a federal government to have immigration reform be a reality. And by having the DREAM Act as our first step is needed. There's no more excuse. This is a good public policy. It makes sense for not only for our young men and women, but for our country. We need this as a part of our labor demand. These are people that we've invested in our public education system. It only makes sense. And it's very sad when politics gets in the middle of good public policy. Because that's what it is. It is about policy. And to see how nasty and how negative and how denigrating it can get to have a discussion about immigration when, again, it's a policy discussion. These are human beings that we're talking about. And they don't deserve to be treated the way they're treated. I have to say that in a way I'm proud to live in Utah, where we've been able to pass some very progressive pieces of legislation where we're sending a very strict message to the federal government that if they're not going to fix this issue, the states are now having to do things about this. Now, some states like Arizona have done really, really terrible pieces of legislation. In Utah, we've been able to pass bills where we're talking about comprehensive immigration reform, where we're talking about recognizing people's abilities and work, having them integrate to our community. We need to continue doing this if the federal government is not going to fix this issue. And the problem is it gets really messy. But our young men and women that by no choice are in this country because their parents made the sacrifice for a better life and for better opportunities do not deserve to be treated like the way we're treating them. They're equal like all the other peers in their schools. So please help me in supporting these young men and women, first of all, in the process of advocating for themselves, for their families, and for the future of this country. But more importantly, let's call our Congress representatives, our congressional representatives, and remind them that it's their job to make sure that we have a safe country where people can pursue their happiness in our constitutional rights. And again, thank you again for being an inspiration. You guys all are an inspiration for everyone. And please know that we are listening. And I know it's hard because you see a lot of the legislation that's taking place, not only at the state levels, but local level and the federal level. And it may not be inspiring, but I'm telling you, you guys are making a difference. Every time somebody speaks and says, I'm unafraid, it's sending a strong message. And we all depend on that workforce. I mean, we do depend on their education. They're part of our community. They're not going anywhere. And like they said, we may end up separating families, and that's not what the American dream is all about. So again, thank you for your support, thank you for being here, and thank you for not stopping in what you want to pursue. Have a wonderful day and a wonderful trip.
Yeah.